Well, let's start the news. And 2 persons have been confirmed dead in renewed violence at Treponi in the northeast region. JoyNews is currently learning the tension is this high in the area, with residents having been forced to flee for safety. Many of them, including children, have had no food or water since the violence erupted between the Cucumbers and the Chokosees over the weekend. One of the residents spoke with our correspondent, Martina Bogri.
In fact, the situation is worrying. It's worrying. But a lot of people have been displaced, and then they are now, even we don't even have a place to sleep. People are all over. They spread. People are somewhere in the city, and then other nearby communities, and in fact, there is no space for them to even stay. So, in fact, for that one, it's a serious problem.
So, how are they surviving?
In fact, for that one, it's a problem because now others are now with their relatives in the northern communities. Others don't even have the place to go. So some of them are around, they're in the bush. And others are around the area, they don't even know where to go. They're hungry. People are suffering a lot. We don't know. Any attack, any moment, they are trying to attack us. And then the military too, they are not helping us. In fact, yes, all our food stores have been burned, our houses have been burned, we don't have any place to live, we don't have to eat. So we are suffering. So we are appealing to the government to come, and then any other NGOs come and support us.
Meanwhile, Acting Minister for the newly created Northeast region, Salifu Said, says the Regional Security Council is currently adopting new strategies to help bring lasting peace to the area.
We have been working day and night, 24/7, to ensure that the situation is brought to normalcy. It's unfortunate that the fight has ignited again because last week Tuesday the report by the committee that was set up was presented to the Minister of Interior, but little did we know that this unacceptable violent confrontation will happen between the two ethnic communities. So RISEC, that is the Regional Security Council, together with the two DISECs, that is the DISEC of Cherpone District as well as the Saboba District Security Committees. We are working closely, and also the police and the military, they have deployed enough security on the ground, and we are working closely with the key stakeholders to see to it that this thing is brought to finality so that that conflict doesn't happen. So I just want to assure the general public that the situation will be normalized. It's unfortunate that it happened, but it will be okay.
So on the ground in Tripoli right now, what exactly is happening from the information that you've gathered? No, what exactly is happening on
for now, the situation is calm. The security, especially, we put more military to give backup to the police. So they have been positioned at very strategic communities that we thought that there could be that potential attack, and it has been brought under control. It has been brought under control.
So that then it keeps recurring. So is there anything that is being done to ensure justice so perpetrators are brought to book, so people don't take advantage and continue doing this?
Yes, that is what we are going to do. We are now going to ensure that we use the duty bearers of the area, ensuring that the youth group, the local authorities, opinion leaders, and we get even people, the religious leaders, both Christian community and then the Muslim community, to come together to see how the local people can own the process of getting final solution to the problem. So I'm very convinced that the methodology that we are going to use this time, the Cherpone intermittent conflict that we are witnessing in recent past, will come to an end.
Well, back here in Accra, workers at the University of Ghana Medical School, Akolebu, are threatening to stop all teaching and learning over a directive by the National Council for Tertiary Education over the payment of their overtime allowances. The Teachers and Educational Workers Union and the Federation of the University Senior Staff Association of Ghana say that the NCTE, in a letter to the universities, has advised against the continued payment of their hospital night overtime, as well as travel and transport allowances, termed as Category 2 and 3 stipends. But the chairman of FUSAG, Haruna Rafiq, says the NCT is being unfair. Evans Chinri has more.
According to a letter issued by the National Council for Tertiary Education last month, senior staff of some public universities shall not be eligible for overtime allowances since they assign responsibilities to subordinates. The statement has angered TEU and FUSAG members who claim they are assigned the same responsibilities as junior staff and must be paid for working overtime. They are threatening to stop work if government fails to address their grievances. Haruna Rafiq speaks for them.
You know, how we do overtime, it is not that the staff involved decides on his or her own accord to come and do overtime. You are actually requested to come and do the overtime. So our staff have worked for February, which is supposed to be paid in March. But as we speak, that hasn't been paid. That hasn't been paid. It is outstanding. And we have sent a clear signal to them that at the end of this month, if we do not get that overtime paid for those who were actually asked to come and do overtime, the campus wouldn't be very conducive for all of us to be in here. So that is the letter that has come from NCT, and this is the response from unionized staff, that's TEU and FUSAG. We are coming from Kolebu. You may ask why Kolebu, but because you know the medical school is in Kolebu, and all the staff there, like we keep saying, the clinical departments in Kolebu are all headed by senior members who are appointed by this university. And these people do not work in isolation, they work with staff. And so when we advise ourselves and we decide to withdraw our staff, it's going to affect a lot of, because Department of Surgery, Department of Medicine, Obs and Gynae, Child Health, all these clinical departments, in fact, the dental clinic, we have our staff there. We man these areas. And when we decide that we are no longer going to render our services, I think it wouldn't be so good. So management, and for that matter, NCTE, should re-look at this issue and then address it properly so that we don't get to that point. We don't also want to get there, but we think that if people have worked, they should be paid adequately compensated for. That's our problem.
He added NCT must pay attention to the issues and motivate them to discharge their duties effectively and creditably.
Now let's take you to Winneba. And the Council of the University of Education, Winneba, has backed the decision by the Vice-Chancellor to dismiss 2 lecturers of the school for failing to exhaust internal dispute resolution mechanisms. The council at a news conference on Monday evening also expressed total confidence in the Vice-Chancellor, the Reverend Professor Afo Broni. The decision to relieve the 2 lecturers sparked students' unrest, leading to destruction of property worth 250,000 Ghana cedis on campus. The Central Regional Security Council also stepped in and closed down the school indefinitely. There is so far been calls for the removal of the Vice-Chancellor, but the member of the council, George Darkon, says the Vice-Chancellor did no wrong.
The Governing Council is saddened by the turn of events, especially the wanton destruction of properties of staff in the university that have led to the eventual closure of the university. The Governing Council knows that several different versions of events that led to the dismissal, termination, and demotion or suspension of some staff, and which have maliciously been misrepresented in the media. The misinformation and misrepresentation have been used as a rationale for the violent attack on lives and properties in the university. Secondly, Council knows the attempt by several individuals and bodies, including UTAG, to question its authority and stampede it into taking decisions that will undermine discipline on our campuses. The Governing Council has assessed the damage caused during the escalation of the violence on the 4th day of the unrest and has taken note of all the issues and concerns raised by the stakeholders during and after the period of the unrest. Also, the Governing Council has taken note of several issues of misinformation and sometimes outright lies that have taken the airways regarding the university. We have therefore called this press conference to clear the airways and to set the record straight on some of the major issues raised by certain individuals and groups in several media outlets and on social media. Council noted 3 major misinformation that took center stage on social media and other areas. They include the council's disciplinary decision on staff, UTAG National's position on council's disciplinary decisions, and the call on the Vice-Chancellor to resign. In all of this, we wish to assure the nation that the University of Education, WINIBA, and its governing council is committed to peace, stability, and the maintenance of law and order. Again, any staff who have been dismissed, suspended or demoted, or who have had their appointment terminated, were taken through due process of the law as established under Statute 36 and in accordance with Schedule G of our statute. Indeed, UTAG National, through their president, Dr. Eriko Poku-Mensah, in response to the dismissal or termination of appointment of the affected persons, had maintained on several platforms that the affected person had been dismissed based on trumped-up charges, and the university failed to take them through due processes. This position has also been trumpeted consistently by the dismissed staff, amplifying the position of some level of believability in the media. UTAG also went ahead and indicated that Dr. Frimpong Duku was dismissed because he had prevailed in UTAG appeal court case against the university, and that the dismissal was heavily orchestrated one, done through an emergency council meeting to ensure that Dr. Duku will never be able to take back his UTAG presidency because the Vice-Chancellor knows what Dr. Duku was capable of doing, in quotes. These assertions are full of inaccuracies, outright lies and fabrications meant to disparage the governing council and create chaos and cause indiscipline on our campuses, a goal that UTAG has clearly achieved in the last few days.
Now let's take you to the courts. And a driver and his mates who engaged in a brawl with a police, let's say a police officer, have been remanded for 2 weeks by a Wager Circuit Court. Francis Boating, the driver, and his mates, Albert and Sam, who were captured in the viral video, pleaded not guilty to 4 counts leveled against them. They are to reappear in court on April 1, 2019. Henry Kwesibedu sat through the court proceedings and our reports.
This video has gone viral since Friday, 15th March 2019. The two, Francis Boabing, driver, 26, and his mate, Albert Ansa, 33, have been charged with conspiracy to commit crime, assault on public officer, causing unlawful damage, and causing road obstruction. They pleaded not guilty to all the 4 charges leveled against them. But as soon as the Wager Circuit Court judge, Bernard Bentel, remanded them for 2 weeks, they burst into tears. Brother of the driver, Justice Yao Ando, says his brother will have his day in court and tell his side of the story.
Andra, anopano, ana me papa flame, no catch them say Martin Yaba. I'm my junior brother. No.
I heard the news yesterday. My father informed me, but I couldn't get to the police station because it was a Sunday. When I heard he was apprehended for beating up a police officer, I was shocked. My only brother will tell his side of the story. He is so calm, and I think there is more to the viral video.
Me expect sir, and I mean me brother no that way, but me who say yes, honey, it's life, and you know, we joining a man.
The public relations officer of the Greater Accra Regional Police Command, DSP Efia Tenge, says the police will continue to investigate the incident, adding the complainant, Constable Julius Mauli Epe, will also be interrogated.
The police officer was even being called to also answer questions on the said assaults that were reported on him. So this is how we get in the pockets of information regarding what really happened. So if we are getting some counter reports, then it means that we need to do due diligence and reports to be able to do further investigations on it to get what really happened. I also do not know why turn back to a police station will just warrant this kind of beating. So that one will also mean that we also need to do our work well. If a police officer stops you and asks that for this kind of motor traffic offense that you have caused, you need to return back to the station, I don't see why that should warrant this kind of assault on the officer. So it means that the investigator in this case must also do a good work for us to all understand.
The accused persons will be kept at the Odoko police station until they reappear before court on April 1, 2019. Henry Kwesi-Bedu's report for Joy News.
And before we go, we have to take you to the Volta region. And pupils of Ajinukopa MA Basic School in the Ketu North Municipality would no longer study under sheds and trees where they were at the mercy of the weather. It follows the construction of 2 classroom blocks for the community by a for-purpose organization, Pencils of Promise. And this is in collaboration with the Ketu North Municipal Assembly. Fred Kwame Asari has more when he went there.
The Ajinukopa MA Basic School was established by the community in 1956 and was absorbed into the public sector in 1960 under government control. The school, however, collapsed in 1966 due to lack of teachers, but was revived by the community in 1978. Government absorbed the school again in 1981 and subsequently constructed a 3-unit classroom block to complement an existing 3-unit classroom block. That notwithstanding, the school, which now has a population of 319 and runs from kindergarten to junior high, lacks infrastructure. This compelled authorities to erect sheds to house some classes, while others studied under trees. Deku Edward Kuma is headmaster of the school.
The school has been a deficit of infrastructure for too long. Over the years, it was only 2 blocks which housed the whole school.
Which comprises of how many classes?
3 classrooms. The rest were temporary structures like a tent and another 3 where the school used to have their classes. The government came in and put up this particular structure, 3 classroom units for the school. And from that time, then there is a still deficit of infrastructure, furnitures and others.
The pupils indicated that studying under the trees and shed impeded their academic work.
We don't have classroom. When the rain falls, we used to go to the other class.
We are not happy learning under the shed because we are exposed to the scorching sun, and this affects our academic work.
Nonetheless, Pencils of Promise has constructed 2 and 3-unit classroom blocks to house the kindergarten and lower primary respectively. A 6-seater sanitary facility was also constructed to help improve sanitation in the school, where open defecation was predominant. Pencils of Promise catered for 80% of the construction cost, comprising skilled labor and some materials, while the Ketu North Municipal Assembly catered for the rest 20%, comprising sand, stone, and unskilled labor, which was provided by residents. Freeman Goba is the country director of Pencils of Promise.
This organization, as we said, has been 10 years. In Ghana, we are 6.5 years. We broke ground our first school in 2012, and we're also proud to say that we have completed 150 schools in 6 years. Apart from the structures you are seeing today, we have also added 105 kg chairs for the KG classroom, 25 tables, 72 desks for the lower primary, that's P1 to 3, and then 3 teachers' table and an office chair and table.
Susan Rose, who donated a greater portion of funds used to construct the blocks, was installed as development chief for the area. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Ajinukope.
Oh, that's in the Agbaja there. But that'll be it for the latest news updates.